Well, for Monday Night Football tonight, we get a game between two teams who are seemingly headed in opposite directions. The Houston Texans have been extremely impressive through 4 weeks, 4-0, maybe the best team in the NFL. This team is second in the league in points scored and second in points allowed. You cannot be much more balanced than that. Tonight they go on the road to face the New York Jets, a team that is reeling. Jets lost 34-0 at home last week to the San Francisco 49ers. And they're 2-2, but from all the talk around this team, you'd think they were 0-4. And certainly, I would say they're 2-2 with the arrow pointing down. A lot of things wrong with this team right now. A lot of people thinking this defense maybe not quite what it once was. They're without their best player, Darrelle Revis, for the rest of the year. A lot of people questioning the coaching, both Rex Ryan's coaching and offensive coordinators Tony Sparano, his play calling. But mostly, the questions around the Jets over the last few days have centered on quarterback Mark Sanchez, who's really playing some bad football this year. Now, I understand Sanchez is not surrounded with an elite complement of weapons. I mean, this guy, Santonio Holmes, was the only elite receiver the Jets had, and he's gone now. He's injured. So now the Jets receiving core, I mean, what are they left with? Chaz Schillens, Jeremy Curley, Stephen Hill. I expect Jason Hill, who they signed this week off the street, to get some time in this game. We know the Jets' running game has been disappointing with Sean Green. You know where I'm going with all this? Is it Tebow time? It might be Tebow time. Hey, I'm not sure it's going to matter who they play at quarterback tonight. Mark Sanchez, Tim Tebow. I'm not sure if they had John Elway in his prime tonight playing quarterback for the New York Jets, they'd be able to beat the Texans. But I'll tell you what, it is setting up just like it did last year for Tim Tebow in Denver. People are talking about this Jets team circling the drain, saying they have no chance. They've lost their best defensive player. They've lost their best wide receiver. Does this sound familiar? You remember last year the Denver Broncos were 1-4. People were saying their season was done. They were saying they were a candidate for the Andrew Luck sweepstakes, meaning they could possibly have the number one pick in the draft. They started Tim Tebow, shipped off their best wide receiver, Brandon Lloyd, before they did that, and no one gave him a chance of anything. We all know what happened. Incredible winning streak, or they won, 7 out of 8 or 8 out of 9 games as soon as Tebow took over. Ended up winning the division, winning a playoff game against Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm telling you what, we could see the same exact thing this year. I'm not lying. We could see the same thing. The Jets have a better defense than Denver does last year. Now the Jets, I know they just gave up 34 points and were run over by San Francisco. Denver's defense last year, might I remind you, finished 22nd or 24th in the league in total yards or something like that. Gave up more 40-point games than any defense in the NFL. So this Jets defense this year is certainly better than that unit was last year. As far as wide receivers go, I guess without Santonio Holmes, you have to give a slight edge to last year's Denver team. But running back, an aging Willis McGahee or the Sean Green, Bilal Powell combination, that's about a wash. And when you say that, when you say, well, the Jets, this could follow the same trajectory as the Denver Broncos last year, most people will say, whoa, whoa, whoa. The Jets play in the AFC East. They're not going to be in a division where 8-8 wins a division. Maybe not. Might I remind you that last week, New England looked like they were about to go to 1-3, down 21-7 in the third quarter to Buffalo. New England's 3-2 right now, but we don't really know. I mean, sure, New England could get on a run. The other two teams in the AFC East, Buffalo and Miami, neither one of those teams are going to finish 500. At least at this point, we don't think they are. I know the Dolphins have been playing tough recently. They're now 2-3, but I still think it'd be a little bit of a surprise if Miami got to 500. So the AFC East very well could turn into a division where 8-8, 9-7 wins a division. Now, the Jets just lost 34-0 last week. They're 9-point home underdogs. Houston, a 9-point favorite in this game on BETDAQ right now. 40.5, 41.5, the two totals. Am I suggesting that by putting Tim Tebow in there, the Jets are probably going to win the division? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's setting up exactly like it did in Denver last year for Tebow. A losing team, or the Jets after tonight's loss, or we all think they're going to lose tonight, they will be a losing team. A losing team that people think have no shot for the rest of the season, and they're just sort of putting in Tebow to see what they can give him. Just like Denver last year, will the situation work out the same way? I don't know, but I'll tell you what, right now for the New York Jets, that is no question about it the best course of action. They're not getting much out of their passing game right now anyway. I mean, if you're going to be critical of Tim Tebow, and plenty of people are critical of his passing. Now, I contend that he's underrated as a passer. Certainly, he's never going to be a Drew Brees, Peyton Manning as a passer, but this guy is an excellent, excellent runner of the football. Cam Newton, Michael Vick, the only two quarterbacks in the NFL you could put in the same sentence as Tebow in terms of running the football. Maybe Robert Griffin, but as we saw Griffin yesterday sustain that concussion, Griffin does not have the body. I guess he's more like Vick in terms of a little more slight. I'm not sure he's going to be able to withstand the punishment like guys like Newton and Tebow and be a running quarterback in the league long term. I think Griffin might evolve more like a Donovan McNabb type quarterback who ran a lot early in his career, but turns into more of a pocket passer later in his career. Newton and Tebow, on the other hand, as long as they're NFL quarterbacks, they will be running the football. And Tim Tebow has to run the football to be successful. And if and when the Jets go to him, they will have to alter and change their offense somewhat. They're not just going to be able to run what they're running now with Mark Sanchez. You must let Tebow run the ball for him to be effective. They're going to have to mix in a lot of the spread option look. But you know what? Denver, when they did that last year, certainly wasn't an exciting offense. Wasn't near the top of the league in points scored or yards per game, but they led the league in rushing by a wide margin when Tim Tebow was the quarterback. Denver games became a lot more low scoring. Their defense all of a sudden looked a lot better when they weren't out on the field as much, and these games were shortened. And I'll tell you what, if I'm a Jets fan, that scenario I just laid out, games shortened, low scoring games, your defense given an opportunity to keep you in the game, leading the league in rushing, that sounds pretty good right now if I'm a Jets fan from where I'm sitting after getting beat 34-0 by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, if it sounds like I'm writing the Jets off tonight, it's because I am. I give the Jets little or no chance to win this game. I'm not betting on Houston, and to tell you the truth, I'm asking myself why I'm not betting on Houston. Houston, a 9-point favorite in this game, as I said. This is the first time since Rex Ryan has been the head coach of the New York Jets that they've been an underdog of more than a touchdown at home. And I guess the only thing scaring me off, it's not really scaring me off. Maybe I should jump on Houston, but I don't plan on it. Maybe it's because I had a losing day yesterday, 1-2, so I'm going to kind of lick my wounds. I'm really still irritated about the way that Pittsburgh-Philadelphia game ended, and I wasn't able to get the cover there with the Steelers laying 3.5. Probably should have bet Steelers money line and not gotten greedy, but it's always sounds good the day after, doesn't it? Anyhow, I do think the Jets are going to respond this week on defense. This defense was run over against San Francisco last week, and the defense isn't that bad, especially in the front seven. I mean, the Jets' linebacking core is elite. It's one of the 4 or 5 best linebacking cores in the league. I know they're going to be without their best defensive player, Darrelle Revis, which is really going to hurt them in this matchup because Revis would have matched up against Andre Johnson, one of the best wide receivers in the league. Still, Rex Ryan, a defensive coach, disgraceful. San Francisco rushed for 250 yards or whatever on him. Disgraceful performance. I do expect a motivated Jets defense, especially in the front seven. And I think for the first half or more, for the first 2 or 3 quarters, I don't look for a lot of scoring out of the Houston Texans. I do lean towards the under in this game. 2 totals markets being offered on BETDAQ, 40.5 and 41.5. And because of what I said, because the Jets don't have much offense themselves, Houston has an excellent defense. And because the Jets defense, I do expect to play much better tonight, national TV, after getting embarrassed at home. I don't see the Texans running up the score in this game, scoring 30, 35 points. So look for a relatively low-scoring game, and I guess that's why Houston -9. 9 is just such a big number to give a team who's tied for the first place in the AFC East right now. I remember the Jets, for all the talk of circling the drain and arrow pointing down, the Jets in the loss column are tied for first place in their division. If they win this game, they're tied with first place for New England. So I'm sure that's not lost on the coaches and players. I'm sure they're not going to overreact after last week's game. Fans and us in the media, our job is to overreact, and so that's what we're doing. That being said, I'd be very surprised if the Jets won the game tonight, and I do lean towards Houston -9. I do believe I like the under here a little more. Will we see Tim Tebow? Will we see him more? Will we see him take over for Mark Sanchez? If I was a Tim Tebow fan, I would be hoping that they would wait till after this game. Believe the Jets have the Colts next. I would hope that they waited till after this game to let Tebow run that offense, maybe change the offense a little bit in the week leading up to the Colts game. But will this be the end of the Mark Sanchez era in New York? Quite possibly. Because if they put Sanchez on the bench and bring Tebow in, that is a point of no return for Sanchez. Even if Tebow does not work out, even if they have to go a different direction at the quarterback position after this year, they will not go back to Mark Sanchez. So a lot of stuff to look for in this game tonight. Should be a very good, interesting game. Well, don't know if it'll be a good game, but should be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to it.